The drive up Route 49 should have calmed me down. 3 hours of pine trees and clean air, the kind of emptiness that makes you remember what your own thoughts sound like. I'd been planning this trip for weeks. Just me, the lodge, and enough silence to forget the noise my life had become since the divorce. But when I pulled into the gravel driveway, there were 3 cars parked where mine should have been. A Range Rover, a BMW sedan, and Evan's pickup truck, the one I'd co-signed for 2 years ago when he said he needed it for work. The porch lights were on. Smoke curled from the chimney. Someone was inside my house. I got out slow, boots crunching on the gravel. The front door wasn't locked. That was the first wrong thing. I always locked it. I pushed it open and the warmth hit me, along with the smell of expensive wine and roasted chicken. Voices came from the kitchen. Laughter. I walked through the entry hall, past the coat rack where jackets I didn't recognize hung on pegs. The hardwood floors creaked under my weight. The voices stopped. Then Evan appeared in the kitchen doorway, wineglass in hand. He froze when he saw me. Behind him, a blonde woman I vaguely recognized as his fiancée, Madison, and 2 older people who had to be her parents. "Dad," Evan said, and his face did something complicated. Surprise, then annoyance, then something colder. "What are you doing here?" "It's my house," I said. Madison stepped forward, all white teeth and practiced smile. "Mr. Henderson, we didn't know you were coming up this weekend. I don't need permission to come to my own property." Evan set his wineglass down hard enough that it clinked. "Actually, Dad, about that." He glanced back at Madison's parents, then looked at me with eyes that had gone flat. "What's a nobody like you doing in my house?" The words landed like a slap. I stood there, hand still on the doorframe, trying to process what he'd just said to me. "Excuse me?" "You heard me." Evan crossed his arms. "This place is already signed over. Lena helped me file the paperwork last month. You don't own this anymore." My daughter's name, Lena. My stomach went cold. "That's impossible," I said. Madison's mother, a thin woman with sharp eyes and expensive jewelry, stepped forward. "Mr. Henderson, maybe we should all sit down and talk about this calmly. There seems to be some confusion." "I'm not confused," I said. "This is my lodge. I bought it 20 years ago. Nobody signed anything." "Dad." Evan's voice had that edge to it, the one he used when he thought I was being difficult. "You're getting older. Memory issues happen. We're just trying to help you transition into the next phase of your life." "Memory issues." I repeated the words slowly. "You think I have memory issues?" "We have documentation," Madison said gently, like she was talking to a child. "Maybe we can show you after dinner. We'd love for you to join us." Her father, a stocky man with a red face, nodded. "Plenty of food. No reason we can't be civil about this." I looked at each of them. At Evan, who wouldn't meet my eyes. At Madison, whose smile didn't reach past her teeth. At her parents, who stood there like they owned the place. "I'm going to step outside," I said. "Make a phone call." "Of course," Madison's mother said. "Take your time." I walked back through the hall, out the front door, and stood on the porch. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage. Behind me, I heard Madison's voice, muffled through the door. "Do you think he'll be a problem?" "Evan, he won't. Trust me." I pulled out my phone. The signal was weak up here, but good enough. I had calls to make, people to talk to. But first, I needed to understand exactly what they'd done. I went back inside. They were in the kitchen now, setting the table like nothing was wrong. Like they hadn't just told me I didn't own my own house. "Show me," I said. "While you're here, hit the hype button, don't forget to subscribe and support this channel with a like. And tell us below. Have you ever faced something like this?" Madison wiped her hands on a dish towel and nodded toward the dining table. "Of course. I think it'll help clear things up." She disappeared into one of the bedrooms, the master bedroom, my bedroom, and came back with 2 thick binders. She set them on the table and opened the first one. "These are the estate management documents," she said, flipping through plastic-sleeved pages. "Lena helped us organize everything. There's the power of attorney, the property transfer forms, and the cognitive assessment results." "Cognitive assessment," I repeated. "Yes." Madison's mother joined her, running a manicured finger down a page. "It's standard procedure when there are concerns about someone's ability to manage their own affairs. You underwent an evaluation 3 months ago." "I never took any evaluation." "Well, according to this," she tapped the page, "you did. It's all documented here. Lena arranged it through your primary care physician." I stepped closer and looked at the papers. They had my name on them, Dr. Patterson's signature at the bottom. Dates, scores, recommendations, All of it looked official. All of it was impossible. "This is fake," I said. Evan sighed. "Dad, please, don't make this harder than it needs to be." "When did I supposedly take this test?" Madison checked the date. "July 15th? I was in Montana in July, working a construction job in Billings. I have pay stubs, witnesses. I was nowhere near Dr. Patterson's office." Madison and her mother exchanged a look. "Memory issues," her mother said softly. "That's exactly the kind of thing that's concerning." "I don't have memory issues," I said, keeping my voice level, "but I am starting to understand what you people are trying to do." "We're trying to help you," Madison said. She closed the binder. "We know this is difficult. Change is always hard, but you have to trust that we have your best interests at heart." "My best interests?" "Yes." She smiled that smile again. "We've been talking with Lena, and we all agree that it might be time for you to consider a more structured living situation, somewhere with support staff, where you don't have to worry about property maintenance or financial management. You want to put me in a home." "We want you to be safe," Evan said. He'd poured himself more wine. "This place is too much for you to handle on your own. The winters up here are brutal. What if something happened and you couldn't call for help?" "What if I told you all to get the hell out of my house?" Madison's father stood up, his chair scraping back. "Now let's not get hostile." "Hostile?" I laughed, and it came out harsh. "You're in my house, eating my food, drinking my wine, showing me fake paperwork that says I'm incompetent, and I'm the one being hostile?" "Dad," Evan set his glass down, "you need to calm down. You're proving our point." I looked at my son, really looked at him. When had he become this person? When had he learned to look at me like I was an obstacle instead of his father? "I need to use the bathroom," I said. "Of course," Madison said. "It's just down the hall." "I know where my own bathroom is." I walked away from them, down the hall, and locked the bathroom door behind me. Then I pulled out my phone and turned on the voice recorder. Held it close to the door, their voices carried. Madison. "He's more resistant than Lena said he'd be." Her mother. "We might need to accelerate the timeline." Evan. "He'll come around. He always does. Just needs time to accept it." Madison's father. "What if he doesn't? What if he fights this?" Evan. "Then we show him the alternative. He's got nowhere else to go. The apartment in town is month to month. Oh boy, we stop paying that, he's homeless. He needs us more than we need him." I stopped the recording. Put the phone back in my pocket. Flushed the toilet and ran the sink. When I came out, they were all smiling at me. "Feel better?" Madison asked. "Much," I said. "Listen, I think I need some air. Going to step outside for a smoke." "You smoke?" Evan looked surprised. "Started recently," I lied. "Helps with stress." I walked out onto the porch. The cold hit me like a wall, but I welcomed it. Pulled out my phone and dialed. 3 rings. Then, "Henderson, it's been a while." "Ray," I said, "I need your help." I was explaining the situation to Ray when the front door opened behind me. Madison's father, Dennis, stepped out. He was wearing a cardigan that probably cost more than my truck payment. "Just getting some air," I said into the phone. "I'll call you back." I hung up. Dennis smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Cold night," he said. "You should come back inside before you catch something." "I'm fine out here." "Mr. Henderson, I think we got off on the wrong foot." He moved closer, hands in his pockets. "We're not trying to push you out. We're trying to include you. Madison and Evan are getting married in 2 months. We'd love for you to be part of that." "By kicking me out of my own house?" "By helping you transition to a more appropriate living situation." He took another step. "You're what, 62? 63? That's young. You've got years ahead of you. But those years will be better in a place where you're looked after, where you don't have to worry about stairs and snow and isolation." "I like isolation." "Do you?" He was right next to me now. "Or is that just what you tell yourself because you don't want to admit you need help?" "I don't need help. I need you people to leave." His hand landed on my shoulder, heavy and firm. "Let's go inside. Talk this through like adults. Maybe with some food in you, you'll see reason." "Take your hand off me." "Mr. Henderson?" I said, "Take your hand off me." He didn't. Instead, he tried to steer me toward the door, his grip tightening. "Come on now. Don't make this difficult." I shrugged his hand off and stepped back. "Don't touch me again." "Or what?" His face had gone red. "You'll call the cops? We're the ones living here. We're the ones with documentation. You show up unannounced, start making threats, getting aggressive. Who do you think they'll believe?" The door opened wider. Evan stood there with his phone out, camera pointed at me. "Dad, you need to calm down," he said. "You're acting unstable. Put the phone away." "No, I think we need a record of this. You're being hostile, threatening Dennis. This is exactly the kind of behavior we've been worried about." Dennis moved again, trying to herd me back. I held my ground. He pushed. I pushed back. He stumbled on the porch step, caught himself on the railing. "Did you see that?" Evan said to the camera. "He just pushed Dennis. He's getting violent." I looked directly at the camera, at my son. "You want violent? Tomorrow morning you'll be crying, all of you." I walked past Dennis, past Evan, to my truck. Got in, started the engine. Through the windshield, I could see them on the porch. Madison had come out, her mother, all of them watching me. I meant what I said. Tomorrow they'd understand who they were dealing with. My apartment in town was a box, 1 bedroom, kitchenette, bathroom with a shower that barely worked. I'd moved in after the divorce because it was cheap and I didn't need much. The lodge had always been my real home. I sat at the small table and spread out the papers I'd kept in a safety deposit box downtown. The original deed, the mortgage papers paid in full 8 years ago, the property tax receipts, all in my name, all current, insurance documents. Everything that proved the lodge was mine. Ray called back at 11. "You sounded tense," he said. "What's going on?" I told him everything. The cars in the driveway, the fake paperwork, the cognitive assessment I never took. Evan's words, the recording I'd made through the bathroom door. "Jesus," Ray said when I finished. "Your own kids?" "Looks that way." "What do you need from me?" "Tools, truck, your witness. Tomorrow morning we're changing the locks." "They're not going to like that." "I don't care what they like." "What if they've already changed them? What if their paperwork actually gives them some kind of legal standing?" "It doesn't," I said. "I checked. The property transfer forms need my signature, notarized, filed with the county. None of that happened. They're squatting. This is all theater." "Then why the paperwork? Why the whole show?" "Because they thought I'd fold. They thought I'd see official-looking documents and believe I was losing my mind. They thought wrong." Ray was quiet for a moment. "You know, once you do this, there's no going back. Family stuff, it's permanent. They made it permanent when they tried to steal my house." "All right," he said. "I'll pick you up at 6. Bring coffee." I hung up and looked at the papers in front of me. 20 years of proof. 20 years of work and payments and maintenance, and they thought they could take it with some fake forms and a smile. Let's see how they like reality. Ray's truck rattled up at 5:58, headlights cutting through the pre-dawn dark. I was already outside with a thermos of coffee and a duffel bag full of the new locks I'd bought at the hardware store. "You look like hell," Ray said when I climbed in. "Didn't sleep much." "Yeah, I bet." He pulled out, heading toward the mountain road. "You sure about this? Really sure?" "Completely." We drove in silence for a while. Ray had been my foreman on 3 different construction projects over the years. Solid guy, kept his word, didn't ask stupid questions. Right now, though, I could tell he had something on his mind. "What?" I said. "Just thinking about Lena. Your daughter helped set this up?" "That's what Evan said." "You talked to her yet?" "Not yet. One thing at a time." We pulled into the lodge driveway just after 7. The cars were all still there. Curtains were drawn, no movement inside. "They're sleeping," Ray said. "You want to wake them up first or just start working?" "Start working." We got out. I had the duffel bag. Ray had his toolbox. We walked up to the front door, and I used my key. It still worked. They hadn't changed the locks yet. I could hear snoring from the master bedroom, Madison and Evan. The guest room door was closed too. Her parents. "Front door first," I said quietly. Ray nodded. We set up on the porch, and he started removing the old lock. The sound of his drill cut through the morning silence. Inside, the snoring stopped. Evan stood there in sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair wild. "What the hell are you doing?" "Changing my locks," I said. "You can't do that." "Watch me." Madison appeared behind him, wrapping a robe around herself. "Mr. Henderson, this is completely inappropriate. You can't just show up at 7 in the morning and start drilling." "It's my house," I said. "I can do whatever I want." "It's not your house," Evan said. "We showed you the paperwork." "The paperwork is fake." I held up the deed. "This isn't. Original deed. My name. Filed with the county. Current. Your documents don't mean anything." Evan's face went from confused to angry in about 2 seconds. He reached for Ray, tried to grab his arm to stop him from working. "Stop drilling. Right now. Ray looked at me. I nodded. Ray stood up, all 6'3" of him, toolbox in hand. You don't want to touch me, kid. This is harassment, Madison said. She had her phone out. I'm calling the police. Good, I said. Call them. I'll show them who owns this place. Dennis and his wife appeared from the guest room, both in bathrobes. What's happening? Dennis demanded. He's trying to lock us out, Madison said. No, I said. I'm locking you out. There's a difference. Evan moved again, getting in Ray's space. You're not finishing that lock. I stepped between them, looked my son in the eye. Move. Make me. I put my hand on his chest and pushed. Not hard enough to hurt him, but hard enough to move him backward. He stumbled into the coffee table, knocked over a wine bottle they'd left out. It shattered on the hardwood. You just assaulted him, Madison shrieked. Did you see that? He assaulted Evan. I moved him out of my way, I said. Now, you want to call the cops? Go ahead. While we wait for them, give me your keys. What keys? Evan said. The keys to my house, all of you. Hand them over. We don't have to give you anything, Dennis said. I looked at Ray. How long to finish this lock? 2 minutes. Finish it. Ray went back to work. Evan tried to get past me again. I body-checked him, and he went sideways into the couch. Call the cops, I said again. I'll show them who owns this place. I'll show them the fake paperwork you're carrying. I'll show them the recording I made of you planning to push me into a nursing home. You want to do this officially? Let's do it. Madison lowered her phone. Recording? What recording? From last night. Through the bathroom door, every word. Want me to play it for the police when they get here? Her face went pale. That's what I thought, I said. Now. Keys. All of you. They handed over the keys, slowly, with a lot of staring and muttering. Madison slammed hers on the kitchen counter. Dennis dropped his on the floor. Evan held on to his until I held out my hand and stared him down. This isn't over, Evan said. You're right, I said. It's not, because here's what happens next. I'm cutting the power to this place. The main breaker box is in my truck. You want electricity? You'll get it when I say so. You want water? Same thing. This was supposed to be your wedding venue, right? Your fancy mountain backdrop? Madison's mouth fell open. You wouldn't. Already did. Generators at my apartment. Breakers coming with me when I leave. Oh, and the wedding? Absolutely do it here. Invite all your friends. Let them see what kind of family you're marrying into. You're insane, Dennis said. No, I'm done being used. I looked at Evan. You siphoned money from my rental property accounts. I checked the records last night. Someone with my passwords has been pulling cash for 6 months. That was you, wasn't it? He didn't answer. Thought so. And you, I turned to Madison, you and your parents. You came up here thinking you could pressure an old man into signing over his property so you could flip it or develop it or whatever scheme you've got running. We don't have a scheme, her mother said. We're trying to help. By declaring me incompetent? By getting my daughter to file guardianship papers? You think I'm stupid? We think you're unwell, she said coldly. And acting out like this proves it. I laughed. Actually laughed. Keep telling yourself that. Now get your stuff. You've got 30 minutes to pack whatever you brought and leave. We're not going anywhere, Evan said. Then sit here in the dark with no heat and no water. Your choice. I grabbed the main breaker box from where they'd stupidly left it on the kitchen counter. Walked out to the truck with Ray behind me. We loaded up the tools, the old locks, everything. You really cut the power? Ray asked. Generators at home. They want power. They can ask nicely. This is going to get ugly. It already is ugly, I said, but at least now I'm the one controlling it. We drove off. In the rearview mirror, I could see them standing on the porch. Evan was on his phone, probably calling Lena, probably calling lawyers. Good. Let them call whoever they wanted. I had the law on my side. I had the truth, and I had something they didn't expect. I had rage, and I had patience, and I wasn't afraid to use both. Back at the construction yard, Ray and I unloaded the tools while I made phone calls. First was my lawyer, Tom Brennan, who I'd used for the property purchase and the divorce. Henderson, he said when he picked up. What's wrong? Can they do this? I asked. Can my kids file paperwork claiming I'm incompetent without me knowing? Who's they? I explained the situation. The fake cognitive assessment. The property transfer documents. The whole setup. No, Tom said. They can't. A cognitive assessment requires your presence. Property transfer requires your signature, notarized. If they forged documents, that's fraud. If they filed false guardianship claims, that's worse. Have you seen the actual county filings? Not yet. Get them. I'll meet you at the courthouse at noon. We'll pull everything they've submitted and see what we're dealing with. Thanks, Tom. One more thing. Don't do anything aggressive. Don't threaten them. Don't touch them. Document everything, but stay clean. If this goes legal, we don't want them claiming you're dangerous. Too late for that, I said. Already pushed Evan this morning. Tom sighed. Of course you did. Try not to push anyone else. I hung up and looked at Ray. Want to help me pull county records? Can't. Got a job in Billings starting at 2. But call me if you need backup again. Will do. Ray drove off, and I sat in my truck, thinking. Lena was the key. Evan was too stupid to put this together on his own. Madison and her parents were opportunists, but they needed an inside person, someone who knew my finances, my medical records, my habits. Lena worked for the city. She had connections in the municipal court. She'd know how to file paperwork, how to make things look official. She'd been angry since the divorce. I called her office, got voicemail. Lena, it's your father. We need to talk. About the lodge, about the paperwork, about what you're doing. Call me back. She didn't call back. At noon, I met Tom at the courthouse. We pulled the property records first. Nothing. No transfers, no liens. Nothing filed under my name or the lodge address in the past year. So the paperwork they showed you is completely fake, Tom said. They printed official-looking documents and hoped you'd fall for it. What about the guardianship? We checked those records. There it was. A petition for guardianship filed 6 weeks ago. Petitioner, Lena Henderson. Subject, Robert Henderson, age 62, showing signs of cognitive decline and financial mismanagement. She actually filed this, I said, staring at the screen. Yeah, and there's a hearing scheduled for next month. Tom pointed at the date. They were going to wait until after the wedding. Spring it on you when you were surrounded by family. Make you look unreasonable if you fought it. Can we stop it? Easily. You're clearly competent. You're here, coherent, managing your own affairs. We'll file a response, get your doctor to submit a statement, and the judge will throw it out. But Henderson, this means your daughter committed perjury. She swore under oath that you're incompetent. That's a crime. Good, I said. Let's make sure she knows that. Tom raised an eyebrow. What are you planning? To show her exactly what incompetent looks like. Lena worked in the municipal planning office on the 3rd floor of City Hall. Open floor plan, cubicles, lots of people around. Perfect. I walked in at 2:30, right in the middle of the afternoon rush. People were at their desks, typing, talking on phones, moving between filing cabinets. Lena was at her desk near the window, looking at blueprints. Lena, I said. She looked up, saw me. Her face went pale. Dad, what are you doing here? We need to talk. This isn't a good time. I'm working. Make time. Her coworker, a young guy with glasses, glanced over. Everything okay, Lena? Fine, she said quickly. Dad, can we take this outside? No, here's good. I pulled the guardianship petition from my pocket and dropped it on her desk. Want to explain this? She picked it up, glanced at it, set it down. Dad, please, not here. Why not? You were fine filing it behind my back. You were fine swearing under oath that I'm incompetent. Let's talk about it in front of your coworkers. Let them hear what kind of person you are. I was trying to help you, she said, voice low. By declaring me mentally unfit? By teaming up with Evan and his con artist fiancée to steal my house? That's not what happened. Then tell me what happened. Tell everyone here what happened. People were staring now. Lena's supervisor had stepped out of her office. Is there a problem? No problem, I said. Just a father asking his daughter why she tried to have him declared incompetent so she could take control of his property. Lena stood up. You need to leave? I'll leave when you explain this. I tapped the petition. You swore I have cognitive decline. You swore I'm financially irresponsible. You want to explain how you came to those conclusions? I've seen the way you've been acting. The impulsive decisions, the isolation. You're not yourself. I'm exactly myself. Sober, working, paying my bills, managing my own affairs. Want to drug test me right now? Want to call Dr. Patterson and ask if I've ever shown signs of cognitive decline? She didn't answer. That's what I thought. I picked up the petition. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to withdraw this. You're going to submit a statement saying you were mistaken, and you're going to stay the hell away from my property. Or what? Or I let Tom Brennan explain to a judge that you committed perjury. That's a felony, Lena. You work for the city. You think they'll keep you on staff when you've got a fraud conviction? Her supervisor stepped closer. Mr. Henderson, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. In a minute. I looked at Lena. One more thing. You're going to that wedding. You're going to watch what happens when you try to destroy your own father. Her husband, Tyler, appeared from somewhere. I hadn't seen him come in. He was bigger than me, younger, worked in construction too. You need to leave, he said, right now. Or what? He reached for my arm. I caught his wrist and twisted, pressing it against the glass partition between cubicles. Not hard enough to break anything, but hard enough that he felt it. Don't touch me, I said quietly, and tell your wife to fix what she broke. I let go and walked out. Behind me, I heard Lena crying, heard her supervisor asking what that was all about, heard Tyler cursing. Good. Let them talk about it. Let her coworkers know what she'd tried to do. Let her spend the rest of the day explaining. In the parking lot, I sat in my truck and called Tom. I just confronted Lena at her office, I said. Henderson, what did I tell you about staying clean? I stayed clean, just had a conversation, in public, with witnesses. Did you threaten her? I explained consequences. That's different. Tom sighed. You're going to give me a heart attack. What did she say? Not much, but she'll withdraw the petition. She has to. Otherwise, she loses her job and maybe her freedom. And the wedding? 2 weeks. Evan and Madison are still planning on using the lodge. Should be quite a show. The next 10 days passed in strange silence. No calls from Evan, no texts from Lena, radio silence from Madison and her parents. They'd withdrawn from the lodge, left it empty. But I knew they'd be back for the wedding. I spent the time preparing, changed all the passwords on my accounts, called my rental property tenants and explained that if anyone but me asked for money, they should call the police. Documented every penny Evan had stolen, 6 months of transfers, $23,000 total. Tom filed responses to the guardianship petition. Dr. Patterson wrote a letter confirming I'd never shown any signs of cognitive decline, that I'd never taken any assessment in July, that the whole thing was fabricated. The hearing was still scheduled, but Tom said the judge would likely dismiss it immediately. On day 7, I got a text from Mark. Mark had been married to my ex-wife's sister, technically ex-brother-in-law now, but we'd stayed friends. He'd been a state trooper for 25 years before retiring. The kids had worshipped him growing up, called him Uncle Mark, looked up to him like a second father. The text said, Heard about the situation. Want to help? Call me. I called. Henderson, he said, you really stirred things up? How'd you hear about it? Lena called. Crying. Said you ambushed her at work, said you were acting unstable. I showed her the fraudulent paperwork she filed. That's not unstable. That's holding her accountable. I know. I talked to Tom Brennan. He filled me in on what they're trying to do. Mark paused. I can't believe they go after you like this. Believe it. What do you need from me? The wedding's in a week. They're still planning to use the lodge. Madison's parents are paying for it, 160 guests. I want you there. As what? Security? As a witness. As someone the kids respect. As proof that I'm not some crazy old man they can push around. You want me to crash their wedding? I want you to stand with me when they realize they've lost. Mark was quiet for a long moment. You know, once you do this, there's no coming back. They're your kids, Henderson. They stopped being my kids when they tried to steal my house. All right, he said. I'll be there. But if this goes sideways, if someone gets hurt, I'm stepping in. Fair enough. I hung up and looked around my apartment. It was small, cramped, nothing like the lodge, but it was mine, paid for with my own money. No one could take it from me. Tomorrow they learn who they're playing with. The wedding reception was at a rented hall 15 miles from the lodge, one of those rustic barn venues with string lights and exposed beams. I showed up at 7 after the ceremony but before dinner, wore a suit, looked respectable, walked in like I belonged there. Madison's parents were near the bar, holding champagne glasses, laughing with other guests. Lena was at a table near the back with Tyler. Evan and Madison were on the dance floor, doing some choreographed routine for the crowd. I stood near the entrance and waited. The dance ended. Applause. Madison grabbed a microphone. Thank you all so much for being here, she said, breathless and smiling. This day wouldn't be possible without so many people. My parents, who've supported us every step of the way. Lena, who's been absolutely amazing helping us navigate some family challenges. Family challenges. That's what she called it. And of course, Madison continued, Evan, my husband, who's taken on so much responsibility lately, including elder care. It's not easy watching a parent decline, but Evan's handled it with such grace. Elder care. Decline. She was doing it. Right here, in front of 160 people, she was spinning the narrative that I was incompetent. I started walking toward the front. People noticed. Whispers started. "Oh, and Mr. Henderson is here," Madison said, spotting me. "Evan's father. We're so glad you could make it." I kept walking. "Actually," Madison said, her voice still light, still performative, "while I have everyone's attention, there is one tiny bit of business. Mr. Henderson, you mentioned you wanted to return your apartment keys. Since we're helping you transition to a better living situation, can I grab those from you now? Just so we don't forget?" She held out her hand, smiled, waited for me to comply in front of everyone. "No," I said. Her smile flickered. "Sorry?" I said no. "Those are my keys, my apartment. You're not getting them." "Dad," Evan said, stepping up beside her. "We talked about this." "We didn't talk about anything. You tried to steal my house. You tried to have me declared incompetent. You stole money from my accounts. And now you're standing here at your wedding, in front of all these people, trying to humiliate me one more time." The room went quiet. "That's not what's happening," Madison said quickly. "You're confused." "I'm not confused." I pulled out my phone. "I have recordings. I have documentation. I have proof of everything you've done." "Dad, stop," Evan said. Madison stepped closer. "Mr. Henderson, please. You're embarrassing yourself." "I'm embarrassing you," I said. "There's a difference." She reached for my phone. I pulled it back. She reached again, and this time she made contact, trying to snatch it from my hand. I held on. We struggled for a second. She yanked. I didn't let go. Then she slapped me. The sound cracked through the room like a gunshot. My face stung. Everyone froze. "You hit me," I said slowly. "You wouldn't let go," she said, but her voice had gone shaky. "In front of 160 witnesses, you just hit me." Evan moved between us. "Dad, you need to leave." "No," I said. "I'm not the one leaving." "Yes, you are." Dennis appeared, face red, finger pointed at me. "You're causing a scene. You're ruining their wedding. Get out." "Call him," I said. "Call who?" "Mark." From the back of the room, the door opened. Mark walked in. He was in his dress uniform, the one he'd worn to retirement ceremonies and official events. Every eye turned to him. "Uncle Mark?" Lena stood up from her table. Mark walked toward the front, stopped beside me, looked at the crowd, looked at Evan and Madison, looked at Dennis and his wife. "Evan," Mark said quietly, "what have you done?" Evan's face went from shock to defensive in half a second. "Uncle Mark, this isn't what it looks like." "It looks like you tried to steal your father's house," Mark said. "It looks like your sister filed fraudulent guardianship papers. It looks like your new wife just slapped him in front of everyone here." Madison's mother tried to interrupt. "This is a private event." "It stopped being private when you turned it into elder abuse theater," Mark said. He looked at the crowd. Some of them knew him. I could see recognition on faces. People whispering. Mark had authority. When he spoke, people listened. "Here's what's actually happening," Mark continued. "Robert Henderson owns a mountain lodge free and clear. His son and future daughter-in-law decided they wanted it, so they fabricated documents claiming he was incompetent. They filed false guardianship petitions. They attempted to pressure him into signing over property rights. That's called elder exploitation. In some states, it's called theft by deception." "That's not true," Evan said, but his voice cracked. "Your sister filed a guardianship petition 6 weeks ago," Mark said. "She swore under oath that your father had cognitive decline. His doctor says he never showed any such symptoms. She committed perjury." Lena was crying now. Tyler had his arm around her. "And you," Mark turned to Madison, "just assaulted him in front of everyone here? That's battery. Witnesses everywhere. Some of them are probably filming." I looked around. He was right. At least 5 phones were pointed at us. "This was supposed to be a celebration," Dennis said. "You're ruining it." "I'm clarifying it," Mark said. "These kids thought they could manipulate and control a 62-year-old man who's worked his whole life for what he has. They thought wrong." "Dad started it," Evan said desperately. "He's been acting crazy, threatening us. He changed the locks on the lodge, cut the power, he pushed me." "On his own property," Mark said, "which you were occupying without permission. That's not assault, that's eviction." Madison's parents were whispering frantically to each other. Some of the guests were leaving, heading for the exits. Others were filming everything. "We were trying to help him," Madison said. She was crying now, too. "He's alone. He's isolated. We thought—" "You thought you could take his house," I said. "Admit it. In front of everyone. Admit what you did. We didn't do anything wrong, Evan said. I pulled out my phone, loaded the recording from the lodge, hit play. Their voices filled the room through my phone speaker. Madison's voice. He's more resistant than Lena said he'd be. Her mother? We might need to accelerate the timeline. Evan. Then we show him the alternative. He's got nowhere else to go. We stop paying his rent. He's homeless. He needs us more than we need him. I stopped the recording. The room was silent. Still think you were helping me? I said. Evan's face had gone white. Madison looked at her parents. Dennis looked at the floor. Get out, someone said. I turned. It was one of the older guests, a woman I didn't know. Get out. This is disgusting. Agreed, someone else said. We should leave, Dennis said quietly to his wife. No, I said. We're nowhere near done. The reception fell apart fast after that. Guests left in clusters, whispering and filming and making calls. The venue coordinator tried to keep things going, but the damage was done. Within 40 minutes, the place was half empty. I walked outside to get air. The parking lot was chaos, people loading into cars, talking in urgent groups. I found a quiet spot near the loading dock behind the building and leaned against the brick wall. That's where Evan found me. You destroyed my wedding, he said. He was still in his tux, bow tie undone, face red with rage or alcohol or both. You destroyed it yourself, I said. I just showed people what you really are. What I am. He stepped closer. I'm your son. I'm family. And you just humiliated me in front of everyone I know. You tried to steal my house. I tried to help you. You're alone, Dad. You're 62, living in a shitbox apartment, working construction jobs that are going to break your back. We were offering you a way out, a place in a nice facility, security, care, and you spit in our faces. By declaring me incompetent? By forging documents? That's help? It's reality. Evan shoved me, both hands on my chest. I stumbled back against the wall. You're too proud to see it, too stubborn to admit you need us. I don't need you, I said. I never did. He shoved me again. You need somebody. I pushed back. He swung. I ducked, and his fist hit the brick wall. He screamed, cradled his hand. You're done, I said. I grabbed his phone from his pocket while he was distracted. Unlocked it. He used the same password he'd used since high school. Pulled up his texts with Madison, typed, Meet at the lodge tonight. Just us. No parents. We need to talk about Dad. Sent it. Madison replied within seconds. Okay. What time? Me as Evan. 9. Come alone. What are you doing? Evan tried to grab the phone. I held it away, deleted the messages from his side so he wouldn't see them later. Setting up the next move, I said. I handed the phone back. Go find your wife. Enjoy what's left of your wedding night. I walked away. Behind me, Evan was cursing, still cradling his hand. I didn't look back. Mark was waiting by my truck. That looked intense. It was necessary, I said. They're coming to the lodge tonight. All of them. I set the bait. What's the plan? Show them everything, all the evidence, all the recordings, all the theft, and give them one chance to walk away before I burn it all down. Mark nodded slowly. You're sure about this? Once you go nuclear, there's no walking it back. I'm sure. Then let's go. We drove toward the lodge in Mark's car, headlights cutting through the dark. The mountain road was empty, just us and the trees and the night. Evan's the obvious target, Mark said. But he's too stupid to put this together. Who's the real brain? Lena, I said. She has the connections, the knowledge, access to my information. She's the one who filed the guardianship petition. She's the one who brought Madison's family into it. Why would she do it? Money, security. She blamed me for the divorce. Her mother left because she was unhappy, but Lena acted like I drove her away. When the settlement left her with less than she expected, she got bitter. So she recruited Evan? And Madison. And Madison's parents. Everyone with something to gain. Mark was quiet for a moment. What are you going to do to her? I'm going to end her career, I said. She works for the city. She filed fraudulent legal documents. Once that becomes public, she's done. No more job, no more reputation, no more future in municipal work. That's scorched earth. That's justice. We pulled into the lodge driveway. The place was dark, but I had a generator running, lights set up in strategic positions. I controlled the illumination, I controlled the space. How long until they get here? Mark asked. 20 minutes, maybe less. We went inside and set up. I laid out all the documents on the big dining table. the original deed, the bank statements showing the stolen money, the guardianship petition, the fake cognitive assessment, the recordings, everything. You really kept all of this, Mark said. I keep everything, I said. Paper trail, always. Headlights flashed through the windows. One car, then another, then a third. They're here, Mark said. I turned on the exterior lights. Evan and Madison climbed out of his truck, Tyler and Lena from another car, Dennis and his wife from the third. They walked up to the porch. Evan tried the door, locked. I opened it. Come in, I said. We need to talk. They filed in slowly, looking around like they were entering a trap. Smart. They were. Why are we here? Madison asked. She'd changed out of her wedding dress into jeans and a sweater. Her eyes were red from crying. Because we're going to settle this, I said. One way or another. Tonight. There's nothing to settle, Dennis said. You've already ruined the wedding. What more do you want? The truth, I said. I pointed at the table. Sit. They sat. Mark stood behind me, arms crossed. The generator hummed outside. Wind picked up, rattling the windows. Here's what I know, I said. I picked up the first document. Evan accessed my rental property accounts using passwords I hadn't changed in 5 years. He transferred $23,000 over 6 months. That's theft. I was managing the properties for you, Evan said weakly. Without my permission, without my knowledge. You stole from me. I picked up the next document. Lena filed a guardianship petition claiming I have cognitive decline. She submitted false information to a court. That's perjury, a felony. Lena looked at the table, didn't speak. Madison and her parents came up here and presented fake estate documents trying to convince me I didn't own my own house. That's fraud. That's attempted theft by deception. We were trying to help, Madison's mother said. You were trying to help yourselves, I said. You saw an aging man with property and thought you could pressure him into signing it over. Then you could develop it, sell it, profit from it. That's not true, Dennis said, but his voice had no strength. I hit play on the recording again. Let them hear their own voices, their own words, planning my forced eviction, planning my institutionalization. When it ended, I set the phone down. So here's what's going to happen, I said. The lights flickered. Storm was getting worse. Thunder rolled outside. You're going to tell me exactly what you did, who was involved, and why you thought you could get away with it. All of it, on camera. Absolutely not, Dennis said. Then I take all of this to the police, to the prosecutor, to Lena's employers, to Madison's parents' business associates. Everyone finds out what you tried to do. You wouldn't, Madison said. Try me. The wind picked up harder. Something banged against the side of the lodge. Everyone jumped. Tyler finally spoke. What do you want? I just told you, the truth, all of it. And if we do this, if we tell you everything, then what? Then you leave. You stay away from me. You stay away from my property. You withdraw the guardianship petition. You return the money, and you never contact me again. You're cutting us off, Lena said quietly. Your own children. You cut yourselves off when you tried to destroy me. Thunder cracked directly overhead. The lights dimmed, then came back. Clock's ticking, I said. Make your choice. Lena broke first. She always had the weakest spine under pressure. It was my idea, she said, originally. I reached out to Evan 6 months ago, told him about your passwords, your rental properties, the lodge, told him we needed to act before you changed things or gave it all away to some charity or girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend, I said. We didn't know that. We just knew you were alone and getting older and we'd be stuck with nothing. So you decided to take it while you could. We decided to secure our inheritance, she said. That's different. It's theft. Keep going. She looked at Tyler. He nodded. I contacted Madison through a mutual friend, Lena continued. I knew she came from money, knew her family had real estate experience. I thought maybe they could help with the legal side, the property transfer. And they jumped at the chance, I said. They were interested in the land, Lena admitted. The location. Dennis wanted to develop it. He saw potential for a luxury resort or high-end cabins, but you'd never sell, so we needed another way. The guardianship. Yes, if we could have you declared incompetent temporarily, just long enough to transfer the property into a trust that we controlled, then you could sign whatever we needed. We'd take care of you, make sure you were comfortable, and everyone would benefit. Except me. You'd have been fine, Madison said. We looked at nice facilities, beautiful places. You would have had care, companionship, activities. A cage, I said. You were going to put me in a cage and take my life. Your life? Dennis laughed bitterly. What life? You work construction jobs at 62. You live in a studio apartment. You have no friends, no relationships, nothing. We were offering you something better. You were offering me a prison so you could steal my assets. That's not better. That's betrayal. I picked up the cognitive assessment document. This. Dr. Patterson's signature. How'd you fake it? Lena closed her eyes. Tyler knows someone at a print shop. They can duplicate signatures from scanned documents. We pulled Dr. Patterson's signature from old insurance forms, matched the font, printed it on official-looking paper. And you thought no one would check. We thought you'd see it and panic, she admitted. We thought you'd be so scared of losing your mind that you'd cooperate, that you'd want family to help you manage things before it got worse. But I'm not losing my mind. There was nothing to lose. You fabricated the entire thing. Yes. Thunder crashed again. Rain started hammering the roof. The money Evan took, I said. Where is it? Evan cleared his throat. Wedding expenses, deposits, the venue, the catering, the photographer, Madison's dress, all of it. So you stole from me to pay for a wedding at a venue where you planned to humiliate me. We weren't trying to humiliate you, Madison said. We were trying to control the narrative, show people that we were responsible, caring, taking on the burden of elder care. It would have made the guardianship easier to justify. Elder abuse as a marketing strategy, Mark said. It was the first time he'd spoken. Everyone looked at him. That's a new low. We weren't abusing him, Dennis said. Yes, you were, Mark said. Financial exploitation, attempted property theft, fraudulent legal filings, social manipulation. In law enforcement, we call that a pattern of elder abuse, and in many states, it's prosecutable. The room went quiet, except for the rain. So what happens now? Tyler asked. Now you sign statements, I said. Written confessions. All of you. Everything you just told me, in writing, witnessed by Mark. We're not doing that, Dennis said. Then I take what I have to the police. Right now, tonight, Lena gets arrested for perjury, Evan for theft, all of you for conspiracy to commit fraud. Your choice? I put blank paper and pens on the table. Write everything you did. Sign it. Date it. This is coercion, Dennis said. No. Coercion is what you did to me. This is consequences. I looked at each of them. You wanted my property. You wanted my money. You thought I was too old, too alone, too weak to fight back. Here's the reality. I'm none of those things. I'm competent, I'm clear-headed, and I'm done being your victim. We're family, Lena said. You're going to destroy your own family over this? You destroyed it when you filed those papers, when you stole that money, when you lied to a court. I'm just finishing what you started. Evan stood up suddenly, chair scraping back. I'm not signing anything. Then leave, I said. Walk out. I'll have the police here within the hour. You wouldn't. Try me. He moved toward me, fists clenched. Mark stepped between us. Sit down, Mark said quietly. Get out of my way. Sit. Down. They stared at each other. Evan was younger, bigger, but Mark had 30 years of law enforcement experience and a presence that made people obey. Evan sat. Thank you, Mark said. Now, everyone write what you did. This doesn't have to end in arrests. It can end in accountability. Your choice. Madison picked up a pen first. Started writing. Her parents exchanged a look, then did the same. Tyler. Lena. Evan sat with his arms crossed. Evan, I said. Last chance. I didn't do anything wrong, he said. You're the one who's wrong. You're the one who embarrassed us at the wedding. You're the one who attacked me at the loading dock. I didn't attack you. You swung at me first. Multiple witnesses can confirm that. You stole my phone. I borrowed it, gave it back, and used it to bring everyone here so we could clear this up. That's not theft. That's strategy. He stood again. This time, he didn't move toward me. He moved toward the door. Where are you going? Madison asked. I'm leaving. I'm not signing anything, and I'm not listening to this anymore. He reached for the door handle. I stepped in front of him. You're not leaving. Not until this is done. Move. No. He tried to push past me. I caught his arm, twisted, and drove him back against the wall, held him there with my forearm across his chest. You're done running, I said. You're done lying. You're done using me. Sign the paper or I call the police right now and you go to jail tonight. You're assaulting me, he gasped. I'm restraining you. There's a difference. Mark, do you see assault? I see a property owner stopping a trespasser from leaving before a civil matter is resolved, Mark said. Not assault. I let Evan go. He slumped against the wall, breathing hard. Sign it, I said. He walked to the table, picked up the pen, started writing. When they were all done, I collected the papers, read each one, made sure they included dates, details, admissions of what they'd done. Good, I said. Now, you vacate this property immediately. You stay away. You withdraw the guardianship petition by end of business tomorrow. You return the $23,000 within 1 week, and you never contact me again unless I contact you first. What about our things? Madison asked. We have stuff stored here. You have until noon tomorrow to collect it. After that, anything left becomes mine. That's not fair, her mother said. Fair? I laughed. You tried to steal my house. Don't talk to me about fair. Madison stood suddenly and bolted for the door, threw it open and ran into the rain toward her car. She was fast. Made it to her SUV before I got outside. Keys in hand, door open, climbing in. I ran after her. Madison, stop. She didn't stop. Started the engine. Put it in reverse. But Mark had positioned his car behind hers when we arrived. She was blocked in. She threw it in drive instead, tried to swing around, but the ground was mud from the rain. The wheels spun, caught, and the SUV lurched sideways. She overcorrected. The vehicle slid, hit a tree at low speed, and the airbags deployed. I reached the driver's door and pulled it open. Madison was okay, just shaken, white dust from the airbag on her face and clothes. You don't get to leave and rewrite this, I said. Not tonight. Everyone stays until we're done. I can't breathe, she gasped. The airbag dust. You're fine. Come on. I helped her out. She leaned against the SUV, coughing. Dennis ran over. What did you do? He shouted at me. I didn't do anything. She tried to leave, lost control in the mud. You chased her. You made her panic. I stopped her from running. There's a difference. Sirens. Faint, but getting closer. Someone must have called 911. Maybe Madison on her way to the car. Maybe one of the neighbors down the mountain who heard the crash. Great, I said. Now we do this officially. Mark put his hand on my shoulder. Let me handle the deputies. You stay calm. Don't argue. Don't explain too much. Just show them the documents and let them sort it out. The sirens got louder. Red and blue lights flashed through the trees. 2 sheriff's deputies pulled up, hands on their belts as they approached. They looked at the crashed SUV, at Madison covered in airbag dust, at all of us standing in the rain, and immediately went on alert. Who called? The first deputy asked. I did, Madison said. He's holding us here against our will. He assaulted my husband. He chased me and made me crash. That's not what happened, I said. Sir, step back, the deputy said to me. Mark stepped forward instead. Evening, deputies. I'm Mark Walton, retired state trooper, badge number 3847. This is a civil property dispute. No one's been assaulted. No one's being held against their will. The vehicle crash was accidental due to weather conditions. The deputies relaxed slightly. One of them recognized Mark. Sergeant Walton? From District 7? That's right. How's Captain Brooks? Retired last year. You know this situation? I do. Mr. Henderson here. He gestured to me. Owns this property free and clear. These individuals, he gestured to Evan, Madison, Lena, and the others, attempted to seize control through fraudulent guardianship filings and property transfer documents. We're currently resolving the matter with written statements and agreements to vacate. He attacked Evan at the wedding, Dennis said. He's been threatening all of us. Do you have injuries? The deputy asked Evan. He shoved me against a wall inside, bruised my chest. Did you file a report? Not yet. Why not? Evan didn't answer. The deputy turned to me. Sir, is this your property? Yes. I pulled out the deed from inside my jacket. I'd brought copies outside when I heard the sirens. Original deed, my name, paid in full, current taxes. I own this place. The deputy looked it over, handed it back. And these people? We're staying here without permission. I changed the locks this morning. They showed up tonight claiming they needed to collect belongings. Situation escalated. How did it escalate? They tried to leave before signing statements acknowledging they have no legal claim to the property. That's kidnapping, Dennis said. No, Mark said. It's not. Kidnapping requires intent to unlawfully confine someone. This is a property owner ensuring that a civil matter is resolved before parties depart. Technically, they're trespassing. He'd be within rights to detain them until law enforcement arrived. The deputy looked at his partner. They had a whispered conversation. Here's what's going to happen, the first deputy said. Everyone's going to collect their belongings and leave this property tonight. No statements, no agreements, no further contact. If there are civil matters to resolve, you do it through lawyers and courts. If there are criminal complaints, you file them properly, but right now everyone leaves. Understood? They need to withdraw the guardianship petition, I said. That's a court matter. File a response, get a lawyer, don't handle it like this. They stole from me. Then file a police report. Tomorrow, at the station. Tonight, everyone goes home. Mark nodded at me. I backed down. Fine, I said. The deputies supervised while everyone went inside and grabbed their things. Bags, clothes, papers. Madison's parents had the most stuff. They'd been planning to stay through the weekend. 20 minutes later, they were all loading into cars. The deputies checked that Madison's SUV was drivable. It was, barely. Front end damaged, but functional. You're going to regret this, Lena said as she walked past me to Tyler's car. Doubtful, I said. You smuggled bastard. The deputies looked over. I said nothing. She got in the car. They drove away, all of them. Down the mountain road, taillights disappearing into the rain. The deputies turned to me. You okay here, sir? I'm fine. Get a lawyer. File proper complaints if you need to. Don't try to handle family stuff like this again. Understood. They left. Mark and I stood on the porch, watching the rain. That could have gone worse, Mark said. Could have gone better. True, but nobody got arrested. Nobody got shot. I'd call that a win. It's not over, I said. They'll regroup. They'll try something else. Then you'll be ready. We went inside. The lodge felt empty now. Quiet. Just the rain on the roof and the wind in the trees. I was right. It wasn't over. I was picking up the scattered papers from the table when I heard a car engine. Headlights through the window again. Just one vehicle this time. Lena's car. Mark and I exchanged a look. I opened the door. Lena got out alone. No Tyler. She walked up to the porch, stopped at the bottom step. Forgot something? I said. No, I needed to say this without Tyler around. Without everyone around. Say what? She looked at me and her face was different. Not scared, not guilty, something harder. You want to know why I did it, really? I know why. Money, property, security. It's more than that. She came up one step. After the divorce, Mom got half of everything. You know what that left for me and Evan? Nothing. We watched her take her share and disappear to Arizona with some guy she met online. You kept working, kept building, kept buying property. And we got nothing. You're adults. You're supposed to build your own lives. With what foundation? You didn't help me with college. You didn't help Evan with his business. You just kept everything for yourself and expected us to figure it out. I raised you, fed you, kept a roof over your heads. That's what parents do. After that, you're on your own. Other parents help their kids. Other parents give them a start. Other parents have kids who don't try to steal from them. She laughed, bitter and sharp. You think I'm sorry? I'm not. I'd do it again. I'd take everything you own and sleep fine. You know why? Because you were never really there. You were always working, always building, always focused on your projects. We were just obligations to you. That's not true. It is true, and you'll deserve it. The words landed like punches. I stood there looking at my daughter and realized something. I'd been hoping, somewhere deep down, that this was all a mistake, that they'd see reason, that we'd find a way back to being family. But there was no way back. There never had been. Then I don't have to feel bad, I said. About what? About what comes next. She stared at me. What does that mean? It means you're done. Your career, your reputation, everything. I'm sending all of this to your employers, to the municipal court, to everyone who needs to know what you did. You wouldn't. Watch me. I'm your daughter. Not anymore. She turned and walked back to her car, got in, drove away without another word. Inside, Mark was watching me. You okay? No, I said, but I will be. What are you going to do? Exactly what I told her. Burn it all down. I spent the rest of the night preparing the packages. Everything documented, everything organized, everything ready to send for Lena. Copies of the false guardianship petition, the fake cognitive assessment, statements from Dr. Patterson, recordings of her admitting it was fake. All going to the city council, her supervisor, the municipal court ethics board, and the state bar association. She'd be fired, investigated, possibly prosecuted. For Evan, documentation of the stolen money, bank records, access logs showing when and how he got into the accounts, all going to the police with a formal theft complaint. He'd have to return the money or face charges. For Madison and her parents, the recording from the bathroom, the video of Madison slapping me at the wedding, Mark's statement about the attempted property theft. all going to their social circle, their business associates, their church. Dennis's company did commercial real estate. He needed reputation to survive. "You're really going through with this," Mark said. He'd stayed the night, sleeping on the couch. "I am." "You understand what this means? You won't have a relationship with your kids anymore, maybe ever." "They ended the relationship when they tried to destroy me. I'm just acknowledging it." "What about holidays, grandkids someday, family events?" "There won't be any of that. Not with them." Mark was quiet for a while. "You sure you can live with that?" "I'm sure I can't live with being their victim." At 8 in the morning, my phone buzzed. Text from Tyler. "You're not the only one with video. Evan filmed you pushing him. We've got evidence too. Back off, or we release it." I showed Mark. He laughed. "Let them," Mark said. Evan threw the first punch at the loading dock. Multiple witnesses. And anything he filmed at the lodge shows him trespassing on your property. They've got nothing. I texted back, "Release whatever you want. Won't change anything." Tyler. "We can make you look bad. Make people think you're the problem." Me. 160 people saw Madison slap me. Saw her thank Evan for elder care in front of everyone. Saw Mark explain what you tried to do. You already look bad. There's no spinning this. He didn't respond. At 9, I hit send. All the packages, all the emails, all the evidence to everyone who needed to see it. Then I sat back and waited.